All right, welcome everyone. We are thrilled that you're here for our webinar today. We're just going to wait about a minute or two so folks can trickle in.
We forgot to add catchy hold music to this part, Hillary.
I was just thinking about that, Dylan. Last time we had some moody music.
I can grab one of my instruments real quick. How about we hum?
Okay. Where people are trickling in. Okay, so we're going to get started. Thank you all for joining today's FitMatch webinar focused on the human dimension of our 3D scanning capabilities and how our patented method can be applied to various use cases and business models. But before we get started, I just wanted to make a kind of housekeeping announcement that we will be having a live Q&A towards the end of our time today. So if you have any burning questions during the discussion, please drop them in there and we'll do our best to get through them. Okay. So now I want to introduce you to my co-host today, Dylan Malone, Head of Mobile Development and 3D at FitMatch.
Yep. Hi, I'm Dylan, and I have been writing mobile apps since the first App Store opened in 2008. Had one of the first 500 apps in the store and the first augmented reality app. And I've just been fascinated with AR, VR, computer vision, machine learning, all the cutting edge parts of the mobile universe since the very beginning. And I wait till you see what we've done at FitMatch to advance the state of the art.
Thanks, Dylan. Hillary. A quick bit about my background. I'm Hillary Littleton, Head of Marketing at FitMatch. I have about 10 years of experience running B2B and B2C marketing programs worldwide. Previously, I ran a high-touch loyalty program at Saks Fifth Avenue Corporate for a number of years before I joined the FitMatch team. But here, I make sure that our growth is happening on both sides, that our partners are seeing the impact and results from our tech, and how do we tell that story to the world, as well as understanding the needs of the user. So what features do they desire for optimal engagement and efficiency in their lives? Because really that's what we're in the business of doing, is optimizing outcomes to make sure that our user experiences are more efficient. So a quick run through of what we're going to be chatting about today. We'll start by refreshing everyone on our product experiences. As many of you know, we're here to discuss the FitMatch 3D scan, but how can your business use it and benefit from it? So this is our focus today. And next, we'll take an exclusive look into why and how we designed our 3D scanning mechanism and what it takes to build the quickest, safest, and most accurate body scan on the market that's available in the palm of your hand. Followed by a number of important use cases with our 3D technology across various markets, and then leaving room for some Q&A before we wrap. Okay, so today you will learn that our product, the FitMatch 3D scan, can be experienced in different formats. One is our very own FitMatch iOS app that will have a shopping marketplace feature available on the App Store very soon. Next is our FitMatch SDK that can integrate into an existing iOS app. You may also see a FitMatch widget on an e-commerce site, which allows users to complete a scan while browsing products there and without ever leaving that .com site. We also have built live retail installations where our 3D scanner is integrated into a dressing room or an in-person space for users to engage, discover, and shop. And before we get into the details of our scan, I did want to review our target personas of the FitMatch technology. We have done a great amount of research around the cohorts of who we consider to be our earliest adopters. Our data shows that the users fall into at least one of two of these buckets. They're obsessed with data around their body. They are involved in sports and fitness activities or going through a body transformation journey like weight loss, pregnancy, or competitive training in which they feel that their current wearables and apps to track data are just not cutting it. In a recent study that we just did with nearly 100 fitness enthusiasts of all sports and all levels, 89% of them said that they would complete a 3D scan. They want to track progress and visualize changes over time. We've also found a huge interest and engagement level with our recent event partners in the fitness world, including Orange Theory, F45, and Barry's Bootcamp. Our users are also frustrated that they can't find their size. This is the consumer that FitMatch was originally created for, and we're learning more about them through our research, where we found that on average, 8 out of 10 women are wearing the wrong size bra. They're also buying multiple sizes in hopes that one fits, and therefore consistently returning, which results in a lack of confidence and an unsatisfied experience with the brand. And now handing it over to Dylan to dive into our 3D scan.
Okay, this is the fun part. Let's talk a little bit about how we do what we do. The bottom line at FitMatch is we have the ability to capture these extraordinary 3D scans of a person in just seconds, whether you're on a mobile app or if you're on a mobile website, with a tiny, very fast piece of technology. So let me walk you through how we do it. In order to get there, we knew we had a couple of technical obstacles we'd have to overcome. This technology is not much use to anybody unless it is small, at least not for our partnerships, right? I grabbed a couple screenshots here from some of the big retailers. I used to work at Target, for example, so they're near and dear to me, but some of the big retail partners that might be interested in technology like ours. And they're obsessed with making sure their mobile apps are small enough that they could be downloaded even if you're on the floor of one of their stores, right, on the spot over cellular data. So if they want to license our technology, it has to have very little impact on the application size. So that was a huge design goal. And I don't know if you ever played any 3D games, but they can be gigabytes, right? So doing anything in the 3D realm and in this tiny little shoestring bit budget I gave ourselves to work in was a big challenge. And the other thing is it had to be very, very fast. And in order to be appealing to all the partners we want to work with, you can't have a lot of external dependencies because that brings in security concerns, legal concerns, and it'll bloat up it'll defeat our whole effort to keep the application size very small. Go ahead and move on. I'll give you a little look at what some of the scans look like. But we were able to do it is the bottom line. That's what I'm going to show off here. And we can get you those fast, accurate scans. So here's an example of one of our scans of a pregnant user. 60,000 points captured in just seconds with the phone in your pocket. Now, let me show you a little bit of how we managed to get a scan like that with an iPhone. Takes 20 seconds. We get these detailed point clouds almost regardless. I don't want to oversell it, but it's quite resilient to environmental conditions. You don't need to be in an empty room far away from the walls. You don't have to have very bright or very dim lighting. It's fairly forgiving. What you do need is to just set the process. And we didn't. Is there a video, Hillary? I'm sorry. Can you remind me? Do we have a video that shows the scan in process on the next slide? Otherwise, I'm just going to describe it. I don't think we do. So
Go ahead.
I'm going to describe the scan. The scan process is simple. You set your phone down with the LiDAR array facing you. The phone guides you into position. It says, take a step to the left, take a step to the right, get a little closer. It says, perfect. That's right where we need you. And it says, ready, set, go. You turn around one time and then it says, great, pick up your phone and you'll see a scan like this. And from that, we'll be able to do things like tell you what size garments to buy or use it for some of these other body tracking applications we've talked about. So with that context in mind, there's no fancy equipment. You don't need to stand on a turntable or anything like that. You just take your phone out of your pocket, set it down, take a step back a step and turn around in a circle. It's very easy. Anyway, we capture about 30 depth readings. We stitch them together into a single 360-degree point cloud. We do not take any pictures at all. This is just a LiDAR process. It's a lot like echolocation, like a bat or a dolphin, right? It sends out a ping and it measures how, it's called time of flight, measures how long it takes for that ping to return. And from that, we can tell very accurately how far away that point was from the sensor. Do that 60,000 times, put them together just right, sprinkle in a little machine learning, and you wind up with a scan like this. Oh, I almost forgot. I was going to have, you can't skip this frame yet. If you scan that QR code, you could grab this. That's kind of a fun little live demo. You can have this scan yourself. You could see it in AR, or you could just spin it around and quick look on your phone. It'll appear on a little screen. You just tap it and you can take a look at the scan for yourself at actual size.
Awesome.
How do we isolate you? And there's maybe 10 or 20 really hard technical problems we have to solve in order to build a product like this. I'm going to describe in super high level, maybe 5 of them, just to give you some ideas of what you're up against. One of the problems you have to solve is image segmentation. In order to make it so that you could be standing next to an office chair or a wall and not have it included in your scan, is we use machine learning to punch you out of your background. So it also makes the app much faster because we're only grabbing the points that represent a person. So we're not wasting bandwidth or time chewing on data that's not relevant to our scan. So you can see there's a depth. That's what a depth map looks like on the left. That's me standing next to a wall and some furniture. But in the point cloud, it knows to leave all the rest of that behind. It's a great first step if you're going to make a 3D scanner. After you have these 30 depth maps, each one from a different angle, we have to stitch them together, right, to form one coherent scan. And that took a lot of engineering to make that fast. Make it happen in a second or two. In order to get there, little peek under the hood, the app is already working on it. It's putting the puzzle pieces together even while you're still spinning around. We've got the first pieces of the puzzle. We start assembling it while you're still in the middle of turning around. So by the time you're done spinning, you've only got 2 seconds to wait before your scan's ready to work with. We also use, I mentioned we shy away from external dependencies. The only one we really use is a popular open source industry standard system called Open3D to help us with some point cloud processing. But we customized the C++, made it faster. And that 80 megabyte repository lives in our project as a little 143 kilobyte piece of our project. So very small. I'll take you through 1 or 2 more technical problems we had to solve, and then I'll let Hillary talk to you about how you use this tech. But another issue that comes up, if you stitch together those 30 point clouds, and you don't do anything with them, you'll have these sort of fuzzy, diffuse results like you see on the left. But using some advanced surface reconstruction techniques, and a little bit of post-processing, we can pull out a lot of extra detail. And of course, keep talking about time and bandwidth. It's much faster to work with this geometry now on the right than the left. There's not even half as many points left, but the points that matter, the ones that actually define the surface, are preserved. So that just makes things faster, better quality. And of course, if you're using it for a use case where the user is looking at the avatar, like that pregnancy scan, for example, then the aesthetic value is important too. I think this is going to be the last technical problem I'm going to describe. There's many more. But in order to do this, if you think about it, you can't use a timer, right? I mentioned they stand up. We take these depth maps as they turn around in a circle. It's not good enough to just fire off these depth map captures. No pictures, just LiDAR recordings. But to take those 30 or so recordings, you can't just do it on a timer. You have to recognize, because people turn at different speeds. So even if you tell them, turn around slowly, they'll start fast, they'll get slower. They're not, people aren't turntables. So we put a lot of work into the surprisingly difficult problem of being able to tell exactly how many degrees you are rotated from the device so that we can capture with just the right amount of overlap, right, between the depth maps so that they're easy to put the puzzle pieces back together at the end. This screen's making me dizzy. All right, I'm going to hand it back to you, Hillary.
Awesome. Thank you. That was fascinating, Dylan. But now we're going to go over a few important use cases of the technology so you guys could see it in action. So actually, the last avatar that Dylan was showing was Sean Hemphill, a professional boxer who used our FitMatch app to scan and view his body transformation to meet his goal. So in the 7 weeks that he had to prepare for his fight on May 3rd, Sean needed to shed 20 pounds. So he scanned nearly every day, documenting his progress. So on the right side here, you can see the evolution of Sean's scans throughout that journey. So this, we feel, has further proved out our claim that the body data obsessed type user really values FitMatch for our convenient, accessible scan that showcases these visualizations that they truly can't get anywhere else. So you could also imagine having measurements added into this visualization would be even more impactful, which is something we're already working on at FitMatch. And next, we'll get a closer look at the pregnant user that Dylan mentioned, who used our FitMatch app as well. So her goal was to scan each week to visualize the growth of her growing belly in 3D. So this was something that she just could not obtain from her various pregnancy tracking apps, and also taking mirror selfies of her bump. Other pregnant users will be also able to compare their progress each week, trimester, or term by logging these milestones. It's also just important to reiterate here that the FitMatch scan is 100% safe, and it doesn't take any photos or videos because we utilize that LiDAR sensor. And then on the retail consumer side, our new iOS app that Dylan was talking about, here's a great video to kind of show the scan in progress, matches users to garments across top brands and allows them to shop within the closets of people who have the most similar body shape to them within our database, or as we like to call them, digital twins. So this creates a sense of trust and community that your recommendations are indeed based on the fit of real people like you. So the users can click out, as you could see here, and purchase the garment directly from the brand site. So we invite you all to sign up for our wait list here to try that beta app for yourselves by scanning the QR code. Okay. And then our garment matching capabilities are also servicing the plastic surgeon community with a tool that we've enabled for their patients to be matched with post-surgical garments that are best suited to that new body shape. So really, in today's reality, these patients are told to bulk order multiple bras in multiple sizes and try them on in office when they come to their post-op appointment. But with the help of FitMatch, they're actually instead provided with personalized size recommendations that in turn reduce returns and the need to try copious amounts of bras on, especially when the patients have limited mobility after surgery. So it's also allowed surgeons to stay compliant with healing protocol, knowing that their patients are in that correct size bra. Okay. I think we're at a good time here to answer a few questions that were put in the chat.
Do you want to pick which ones we answer, and then I'll jump in if it's geeky enough for
Sure.
me? All right.
Sure. How about how does the SDK integrate with other retail platforms and applications? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this.
Yeah. Well, we put a lot of work and thought into this. You saw me talking about how we made it a major design goal to make sure that the product was fast and tiny. But how do you actually use it? So, in addition to our own first-party apps, as an SDK, it's offered as a Swift package for iOS users, because obviously, if you're LiDAR based, that's iOS technology right now. And it's a Swift package. It's easy to use with Swift Package Manager. It's kind of a trivial install, and it's just a few lines of code to call just a few functions. All the crazy engineering is wrapped up in our dynamic libraries. You don't have to worry too much about it. It's also available even as for Flutter cross-platform people who are making an iOS app. That came up recently with one of our partners. So we're just finishing right now putting out our first Flutter plugin that wraps the SDK and exposes it through Dart. It's also coming out as a web clip option for people to use on their websites, which is if you're not familiar with WebClip, it's amazing. It's essentially, remember how I talked about how small the app is? It really pays off when you want to show up on somebody's website, right? Because the app's not pre-installed on their shopper's phone, but you just came to greatstuff.com or whatever, you want to buy something, the FitMatch scanning technology can load extremely fast on the spot, essentially an instant app. You get like a native experience, even though you didn't pre-install the app. That's what an app clip is. Odds are, if you're on this call, you're able to use the FitMatch technology.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up. Was there any other benefits? Somebody asked about any other benefits of using the e-commerce solution versus the iOS app. Is there anything else you wanted to touch? But I think you kind of covered it.
I kind of covered it. I mean, the advantage of the native apps is, well, there's a bunch of advantages. You'll reach a different kind of shopper. It's important that you can scratch both itches and you'll get a different kind of experience. But what we've done is made sure you have the native quality experience, whether it's in the SDK in one of our first party apps or as a web clip. You're going to essentially, you're literally running the same code, regardless of how you reach it.
Okay, great. Let's see what else. Somebody asked about Android.
Yeah, we're
Favorite
very
question.
interested in bringing our product to the Android users for obvious reasons. And right now, because we are relying heavily on LiDAR, there's not a great path to reach them. So we've got a few options, but expect FitMatch to find its way to Android the moment that it's viable for us, and we're working on it every day. So there's a few ways to get there. Right now, it's an iOS product.
And then another question was, what is the percentage of accuracy?
Well, there's two things that are, this improves all the time. There's two metrics that we track all the time, which is, if you stand up and spin around the corner and it grabs a scan of you, how often does that work? Does it work every single time? Does it work, or what? And it won't work every single time, because if the person moved in really erratic ways, then the puzzle is too hard to reassemble, and they're told to hold still, to be calm as they spin around. Anyway, that metric's improving all the time as we get better and better at sort of coping with the ways people behave during a scan. So it's fairly high and going up. And then how accurate is the geometry we capture? Well, it's pretty accurate. We even hard to fit garments like bras, for example. That's where we started. We have a brilliant data scientist who got a bunch of patents at Cornell. You all have to meet Jay. That was her area of focus when she was doing her PhD work. And so even hard to fit garments like that. And one last anecdote on that is, you can take a scan with our scanner and then view it in AR like you can from that QR code in the presentation earlier. And if you're the person scanned, you can stand inside yourself, right? And see for yourself. The dots will line up very, very well with you're able to frame yourself with your own scan quite nicely.
Yeah, we're going to make some content around that. So you guys will see that soon on our socials. This is an interesting one. iOS product, we mean iPads with LiDAR as well, or I believe there's certain models still in, right?
Yeah, some versions of our tech have already been on the iPad. Any Pro device that has a LiDAR sensor has no technical barrier to using our software. So yeah, we do support the iPads. This it's just really a UI issue, where they do the extra work in Swift UI to accommodate the iPad user.
Okay, great. Let's see there. We have a couple more minutes left. There's a couple questions around the future of this technology. Somebody was really interested in the pregnancy 3D images. But what do you see as kind of the future for this technology and for our 3D scanning?
Well, it just gets better and better, right? We're kind of the era of 2D computing is sort of drawing to a close, right? Everybody knows AR and VR, MR, but they're taking over, right? We're moving into a 3D spatial future. And so the ability to have a high 3D competency like FitMatch brings you is really important, right? But we're getting better and better at doing it. So don't be surprised if someday down the road the process of getting the scans becomes more and more it's just going to get easier and easier to get a great scan. I don't have anything to announce today, but just we're very focused on, we're very proud of how easy it is today, but it will get easier.
Awesome. This is a good one. When will the measuring functionality be available? I believe pretty soon. I don't want to speak too soon, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's available in certain forms now, but there's an imminent launch on the App Store. That's in the presentation we went through at the end. There was a QR code. Otherwise, you can, I'm not mistaken, you go to fitmatch.ai and find it anyway, right, Hillary?
Yeah, I can go back to that slide in case you guys want to scan it
For
again.
most people, that's probably the easiest way to personally play with some of our technology. And we didn't talk a lot about it in this call other than obliquely, but I mean, it's no small miracle what we do after the scan, right? It's an amazing achievement that not only do we get these great 3D captures, but we're able to tell you quite accurately from the scan which garments to buy. And so we didn't talk a lot about that today, but this first App Store product from us that you see in these screenshots here, notice all this 32B, it's providing recommendations for women's bras in this case.
Mhm. Awesome. Um, One other question before or I'll answer two more questions. Good one. Is the scan limited to certain categories? I know that you talked about how we started with the hardest to fit categories, but how would you answer that?
It depends on the use case. It really isn't limited to specific categories. We focused on some of the most painful points in the industry. You mentioned the incredibly low rate that people have the correct bra size.
Mhm.
So it seemed like a great first place where the tech is most needed. But there's nothing preventing you from using this for all different kinds of full body scans. It's tuned right now for these earliest versions of the tech are tuned for upper body, torso, as you can see in the
Mhm.
scan results.
Okay,
But those
great.
work great for things like even like leggings. Often you can size with a scan like this.
Okay, wonderful. Um, I think the last one was about an interest in an internship at FitMatch. So if you are interested in any opportunities to work alongside us, please stay in touch. We've included our email address here. So I think that that would be a great place to start, but we're excited to hear from you. And I think we are almost at time. So if there are any other follow-up questions, please reach out to us. Follow us on social, send us a note. We will also be sending out a recording of this webinar for reference if any of your colleagues would like it. But honestly, we thank you all so much for joining us today. This was a really enlightening session. Thank you, Dylan, for everything that you shared. And we look forward to talking with some of you very soon.
Thank you,
Anything
Hillary.
you want to add?
All right.
Okay.
Nope, that's it.
All right. Thank you,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.